Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, Home Life Green Team Real Estate, your investing and full service real estate agency brokerage in Sudbury, Ontario. Let's get to today's topic. Today's topic is listing price. Okay, so when you look on a listing on realtor.ca, Redfin, Zillow, these sites, not as much in Canada but still used, you're going to see something called the listing price. So whatever you see for the price of that property, that's what we're talking about today. For instance, a single family house, listing price $200,000. Now, when you go and shop at a store, let's just use Walmart as an example, there is no listing price. Walmart is not willing to sell you a beach ball for $10 if they put a $20 price tag on it. There's no bid versus ask spread at Walmart when you buy something, but in real estate it's a little bit different. What the seller, meaning the person selling their property, might be willing to take for that property, it might not be exactly equal to the listing price. It could be lower, it could be higher. The listing price, for all intents and purposes, is a marketing tool. Hopefully that makes sense. So when you decide to buy a property, or when the person decides to sell it, because there are two sides to a transaction, that agreed to price would be the selling price. Now, it's not everything. There could be other details. For instance, you buy a property, but you want the roof replaced before the transaction closes. You wouldn't necessarily see that reflected in the selling price. That would be kind of an adjunct part. Maybe you'd be willing to pay less for the property. The selling price would be lower if they hadn't done that. So you always have to remember it's not the only important factor. There could be other things, repairs or other agreed to things. For instance, the closing date. Let's say, they want a fast closing. You can't facilitate that because of finance or other things. So you can only offer to buy the property in 3 months. You might have to pay a higher price, on the buying end, and they would be willing to sell for a higher price because they don't want to hold it for those extra 3 months. And we could talk about this all day, but let's move on because today's video is just about listing price. So why do we have listing prices? Why don't we just put what the price is, $200,000, first come, first serve? Well, that's not a great system to have. Why is that? What if a property is worth more than that to somebody and they'd be willing to pay more than the person down the street? Shouldn't the person that's willing to pay more, don't they deserve to buy it? Don't they deserve a chance to buy it for more? Now, you might be saying, wait, why would someone be willing to pay more for the same property? That seems irrational. That seems like a bad idea. Well, the truth is, if I can use an analogy, the same thing might be worth different amounts to two different people. Now, there are many different emotional reasons, and we could go over those. But from purely an investment point of view, there could be multiple price tags that are justified for the same property. Let me go over an analogy. Let's say you buy a farm for the measly price of $100,000. The farmer is happy to sell it for $100,000 because he can barely grow, 1,000 stalks of corn per year. It's barely enough to support his family. And he's happy to get $100,000 and move away. But you quickly discover that there is oil underneath that cornfield. Now, I think we can all guess, oil is very valuable. 1 liter of it now fetches, over $1 when it's in a refined state. So imagine an entire cornfield. It could be worth millions of dollars. Knowing that, would you be willing to pay more for the farm? Let's say the farmer says, no, it's worth $110,000 to me. Would you be willing to pay $110,000? Well, compared to the millions of oil under the field, you probably would. And that's kind of at, the root of when we talk about listing prices, why there's such a discrepancy. Right now, and this is in 2021, people sometimes pay $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 over the listing price to get a property. And this kind of gets to the heart of why that is. You might say, well, that's crazy. They're paying such a high price. Well, the truth is, if it's worth it to that person, if they sense oil, figurative oil in that property, they're going to spring at it, and they're going to be willing to pay more. And shouldn't the person that's willing to pay more be able to do that? If we worked on a first come first served basis, the same price would be the same for everyone. Now, what are some examples of different use in rental real estate? One of them might be multiple family, like we deal with a lot here at Home Life Green Team. Let's say a 4-unit building, you buy it for $400,000, but there's room in the basement, and the zoning allows for it to build a 5th unit. That building might go from $400,000 with 5 units go to $500,000. Now you could see it on the market for $400,000 and say, I can build a 5th unit for only $20,000 and profit $80,000 in equity on my property, and that would be a good deal for you. Another person might look at the property and say, 4 units or $400,000. I think I'm going to go down the street and get 4 units for $350,000, and that's a better deal for me. So you can kind of see why 2 people might be willing to pay completely different prices and bid completely different amounts on the same property. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully I've explained kind of why the listing price isn't necessarily the most important. There are always other factors, like I mentioned at the beginning, and to different people, the same property might be worth different amounts. Again, I'm Zach with Home Life Green Team Real Estate. Here in Sudbury, Ontario, we focus on multiple family, but we are a full-service brokerage and can help you with any kind of property that you might be looking at, be it single family, recreation, even cottages, camps, things like that. So give us a call, and thanks for watching. See you in the next video.